host for the program Coming Home.
We began by meeting at a hotel in the ballroom, and from there we came upon a property that we are currently at today.
And I get on them all the time. We have to change our thinking if we're ever going to walk in the kingdom of God.
Well, hello and welcome to this week's program Coming Home. And each week, as you know, usually it's a pastor of a church that I have on. Sometimes it is a parachurch ministry leader. And I'm really excited today to have Lynn Nelson on. Now, Lynn is the executive director of Together Marriage. Am I saying
Together
that
Marriage
right?
Mentoring, yes.
Together Marriage Mentoring. There we go. From Cedar
It's a
Rapids,
mouthful.
Iowa. That's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
But Lynn, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's good to have you
Glad
here.
to be here.
And I met Lynn, I think the first time maybe a month ago, and I thought, this lady's got energy. I thought, man, this gal, she's fiery, she's got energy, she's got a passion for what she's doing. And certainly marriage today is something that we need to have a passion for. We need to give a lot of time and attention to. So Lynn, tell us about yourself briefly, and then talk about how you got into marriage mentoring.
Okay, I sure will. Thank you. And thanks again for having me.
You bet.
I have been married for over 23 years to my friend and my husband, Gary Nelson. Yep. And he is actually how I got to Iowa. Gary was born and raised in Iowa in the Dubuque, Waterloo area. Went to law school in Illinois, which is where I met him. We were both working at the same law firm. Yes, and we have 2 children. Our son is in Chicago currently serving in the Navy, but actually in July he will be moving, both he, his wife, and his daughter, they'll be moving to Norfolk, Virginia, where he will be stationed for another 4.5 years. And then we have a daughter, and she was recently married, and we have 2 wonderful grandchildren, 2 little granddaughters, one who's 1 and one who's just barely 2 months old. Wow. So, yeah.
What's it like to be a grandma?
Well, you know what? People have told me for many years that I will enjoy it more than I did enjoy being a parent, which I enjoy being a parent a lot. I have to say that because my daughter's with me today.
Yes.
But I've got to tell you, there's nothing like being responsible for this next generation and through this grandchild. So it's been pretty cool.
That is really incredible.
Yeah.
And you've been married 23 years.
23 years.
And when did you first get involved in, not marriage, Together Marriage, but Marriage Matters was a ministry that you were first involved in?
Well, actually, God called my husband and myself into marriage ministry even before we moved to Iowa 9 years ago. So we were affiliated with a small church in Southern Illinois, and just as lay members, we really felt a calling to start some small groups with other young married couples. Wow. We'd been married just a couple of years, and my husband and I only dated 4 months, only knew each other 4 months before we got married. So I believe God called me into marriage ministry to really teach me a lot about marriage, and so we always joke about that. But anyway, I discovered that there was a real passion there early on in our marriage. Yes. And so when we moved here 9 years ago from Illinois, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and so spent about a month really praying that God would bring the job that He had for me. Yes. And so it was shortly after that, shortly after we moved here, that I learned of a statewide ministry out of Des Moines, Marriage Matters. And they were looking for an area rep in the I-380 corridor area, Cedar Rapids, Waterloo. So I applied for that position and received that position. And over a period of a couple of years, I went from a contract employee as an area rep to president of the organization.
Oh my.
Yeah. And so, and we were under a federal grant for a while, and this is all under the umbrella of Marriage Matters. About 4 years ago, as I was serving with Marriage Matters, I just really felt that God was calling me to serve our community in the Lynn County area and really serve the marriages there. So after much prayer, and I gathered a group of godly men and women together and created an advisory board, it just became very clear after a few months that we were to start our own 501c3. So that was 3 years ago in April. April 2012. And you know, at the time when we started the 501c3, we really had no idea what God was going to do with this ministry, but it has just been absolutely amazing how He has opened doors for this organization over the last 3 years. So we're relatively new, but yet through God, we've been making just tremendous progress over the last couple of years.
Right. Now, Lynn, people talk about, or usually they'll talk about marriage counseling. So what would you say the difference is between marriage counseling and marriage mentoring?
That's a great question. I'm asked that quite a bit. Marriage mentoring is a discipleship relationship. Some of the distinct features that are different about mentoring versus counseling is it takes place in our mentor couple's home. So we train mentors. We train couples who are handpicked by their pastors, who are seasoned in their faith.
Awesome.
And seasoned in their marriage. Not perfect marriages. We have no use for couples with perfect marriages. Just God-focused marriages.
Yes.
So once we have our trained mentors, then the couples seeking mentoring, they meet with their mentor couple in their home. So it is a very relaxed atmosphere. You have both husband and wife on both sides. The mentor couple is both husband and wife, and of course the mentee. So that's different than counseling. You get a husband and wife perspective at the same time. Other distinct features that were different than counseling is we are not licensed therapists. Our mentor couples are trained, and they go through a continuing ed program through our ministry as well after the training. So we are different, but honestly, it is just if you understand the concept of discipleship, that's what it is. It's discipleship.
You know, and Dottie, my wife, and I, we've been married 49 years. We'll be 49 years in September, and then we've been pastoring for 25 years. We were lay ministers for about 8 years prior to that. But I can tell you that a large part of ministry is counseling.
Yes.
And a lot of that counseling is about marriage.
Yes.
And so if we're going to do anything to save America or save the families of America, it is really to help couples.
Absolutely.
And I think what you're doing is absolutely tremendous. And I know that you have a video clip that we want to show, Lynn, and let's do that now. Let's have them watch this video clip because a picture's worth 1,000 words.
Yes.
And this is about a 3-minute, 43-second video clip, and you will get a picture idea of what marriage mentoring is all about. So watch.
John and Rachel Connolly, and we've been married for just over 5 years.
Kim Pagel, and this is my wife Sharon, and we've been married 37 years.
Are you ready? Yep. So I'm Brian Stabb, this is Kelly Stabb. We've been married for 2 years.
Jordan, and this is my wife Jenny, and we've been married for 8 years now.
God is vital and still is vital, and he's more important than anything right now in our marriage.
We decided to pursue marriage mentoring. It's something as you go through marriage, you want to continue to put money in the bank in your marriage, and that's something we see value in and want to continue to improve our marriage by looking to others who have been there and done that.
And we wanted to grow in our marriage. We were having some difficulty learning how to communicate, and we thought that marriage mentoring would be a great way to help us take that next step in our marriage.
We were thinking about getting engaged, and we decided we wanted to do it right, and so we signed up for marriage mentoring.
We're marriage mentors. We've been involved in marriage mentoring for 3 years.
From day one, we felt that encouragement and felt that hope, so it kept us going.
Together Marriage Mentoring is a powerful ministry serving couples at all stages of their relationship, from engagement to marriage, through the ups and the downs, and even those couples who want to give back by becoming marriage mentors themselves. Together's system to enrich marriages is growing and becoming more effective each year. In 2014, we partnered with 5 churches and equipped 80 mentor couples who served 625 hours. We assessed each Together couple before and after mentoring and saw dramatic improvements in their relationships and overall satisfaction. And God continues to use Together to strengthen marriages in Lynn County. From 2013 to 2014, we saw an increase in marriages, and divorces were cut nearly in half. Marriage mentoring is making a difference.
One area that we are still applying is just the different tools for building communication.
Investing into our marriage and putting money in the bank is something you should always be looking to do, and I know in the future we'll be looking again for ways to further invest.
Marriage mentoring really gave us hope because we were able to learn that other couples have the same kind of struggles we do, and to see that they've persevered through, 30 or 40 years of marriage, and we can do the same.
It was a huge investment in our future, and it's something that was very important to us and is still important to us.
It has helped because we are working more intentionally on our marriage in the last handful of years, more than we ever have.
I don't think that we can do anything more useful to help a couple is to help them love one another. This is discipleship in action on the most important level of helping couples love one another well.
Marriage mentoring really did help me as a husband understand more what my wife was communicating to me.
On our golden anniversary, when my 3 daughters are standing there, I want them to remember that we fought for our marriage. I want them to remember that that we stayed together no matter what.
Join a movement that's impacting our community. Together Marriage Mentoring.
So, Lynn, now that they've seen the video, where would you pick up from there to talk about how they either could get involved in marriage mentoring themselves, becoming marriage mentors, or if there are someone that needs help with their marriage or knows of someone that needs help with their marriage, how they would get in touch with you?
Great questions. Well, the model of our organization is we serve all marriages. So we have a program that really can address the needs for couples who are engaged. We even have some couples who go through the ministry and they're just seriously dating. They haven't even made that decision yet whether or not to get engaged. Important. Yes, very important. And so we serve engaged couples. Then we serve the second group of couples, we call them enrichment couples. Those are couples with good marriages but really want to take it to the next level. And each of us go through seasons. Each couples go through a particular season in their marriage. For example, my husband and I are recently empty nesters. So that's a new season. So that enrichment group really does cover a lot of those seasons of marriage. And then unfortunately, the couples that we tend to see the most are those that are at risk or in crisis. And so what you can do when a couple seeks mentoring from us, let me back up just a little bit. First of all, our model, like I said, is pretty unique as far as a nonprofit goes. We actually partner with area churches. And I am actually viewed as a shared staff member amongst the partner churches. So we're an integral part of the ministry there within that particular church. And that advisory group that I told you about that was formed 4 years ago, as we were praying through what this nonprofit would look like, it became very clear that God wanted us to be right in the middle of the church so that the church could have a vested interest in the marriages in their church, but also that we would know what is going on in that church, and so that we would not come into a church thinking that we are experts, but really we are a part of that church and we understand what the needs are so that we can be part of their team. So when a couple has a desire to go through mentoring, whether it's engaged, enrichment, or crisis, they reach out to either myself or to the church, the partner church directly. The first thing we ask them to do is just fill out some background information that tells us a little bit about who they are as a couple, how long they've been married, what some of their strengths and growth areas are in their relationship, number of children, or if they've had previous marriages. We try to just get some of that information. That is a key piece to what we do, because as I place a mentee couple with a mentor couple, I really try to match up similar interests, and especially for the men. Women tend to be a little bit more relational and a little more excited to go through marriage mentoring and talk about their feelings. Men, not so much. So usually if I have a mentee husband who is maybe a huge sports fan, I'll try to, or maybe he's an engineer, or he's enjoys fishing, I'll try to pair him up with another man where they will have this common interest from the beginning. So the next thing we do once we place them with a couple, we have each couple take an assessment. It's an online relationship assessment. The assessment that we use is by Prepare and Enrich. It's a company that's been around for years. It's a great 9-dimensional diagnostic assessment. It actually, what it does is just really raise issues to the surface that couples, they might know they're having an issue in communication, but they might not know specifics around the struggles that they're having in communication. So this assessment actually really raises stuff. I think of it like an extraction tool. You're pulling things up to the surface. So we have couples take that assessment. The mentor couple is trained on how to utilize that assessment during mentoring. as well as each mentor couple has experience in how to use various tools in the area of conflict resolution and communication. So a couple will go through mentoring. Depending on if they're in crisis, we tend to work with them around 10 times. If it's premarital, it's 4. If they're enrichment couples, it's around 6 to 8. And during those sessions, they're going through their assessment and they're learning how to break old habits, and they're developing new habits around those 9 areas of their marriage. So one of the things I'm really excited about that you saw in the video is we actually have a tangible way to see how God is using this ministry, and especially this assessment, to see if there is growth, if there are metrics along the way that can tell us that a couple is in fact improving in their relationship. And so one of the ways that we can do that is we have a couple, as I said, take the assessment when they first get started.
Yes.
Then they go through mentoring for a number of sessions. Then we wait 6 months after they have finished mentoring because we want them to get back into life. And then we ask them to take what's called a follow-up or post-assessment. We can then send their pre-assessment scores and their post-assessment scores to Prepare and Enrich, and they do an overall analysis of where they started and where they are now. And so that's where we have really been able to celebrate what God is still doing in the lives of those couples, which you saw testimony of that. Each of the couples that you saw on the video have been through mentoring at least 2 years ago. So they've had a chance to get back into life, and they're still talking about the tools that they use and just really the ways that they have seen God use marriage mentoring to strengthen their relationship.
This is incredible, Lynn. I mean, like I said, probably, I mean, Dottie, my wife, and I, we counsel people for all kinds of needs, sexual abuse in their childhood, depression, but marriage seems to be the most prominent thing, most common thing. And this program is being aired and viewed by people all over the eastern third of Iowa, probably. So your ministry, though it's focused in and out of Lynn County, it really is statewide. You can go anywhere. And how many couples? You said you have 5 churches, and I see the list of who those churches are if you want to mention them.
We do have 5 partner churches. We've been really blessed with the churches that came on board when we first started 3 years ago. New Covenant Bible Church, Faith Bible, Cedar Valley Bible Church, Maranatha, and Cornerstone. And then in about a month, we're signing on our 6th church, which we're really excited about, Hillside Wesleyan.
Oh, yes.
Yep, on the northwest side of Cedar Rapids. They are joining, and we have 2 other potential churches that we're looking to sign on in 2016. So again, that's God. God is paving the way. One of the things that really was clear to us when we first started this around 4 years ago was that the churches, the pastors especially, the leaders, are just inundated with running the various ministries within their church, and to add marriage counseling on top of that and see the growing need of couples that are coming through their door every day, it became very clear that the churches just were not able to stay on top of those marriage issues. So one of the things that's appealing to the churches is that we don't come in and take something from them. We actually build on to what they have, and we partner with them. And so that relationship is very clear from the beginning, and it's just a great dynamic. Actually, for how we formed our board is we have our partner church pastors or a senior elder be represented on our board. So that way they know firsthand what's taking place in the ministry, and so they can be an advocate for both sides. And so we've just seen that relationship. We have really sought God's guidance on how we structure and model this ministry, and it's just been clear that He's the one in control. Thank goodness. So, and
this all happened in 4 years' time, roughly 4 years' time.
I think God has been preparing some of these churches long before 4 years ago to have a real heart for reaching out to the unchurched and even those in their congregation to help really use that as a discipleship opportunity to reach others for Christ. I mean, people will come to us for marriage needs, but ultimately our goal is to introduce Christ to them. You know, you talk about the energy that I have. Where I really get really kind of fired up is, you know, churches do a great job focusing on children's ministry and men's ministry and women's ministry, but there's been a real gap on marriage ministry. And you know, I think we can adopt a school or do those kind of programs that help kids, but to me, I just think it's fundamental to go back to the bedrock, which is the marriage, and see what the churches can offer to help really stimulate improvement in the marriage relationship.
This is so incredible. So you got, and I believe Kirk Statler's a pastor to us.
He is,
He's
yes.
a great guy. I've met him, and his church I know is growing.
They're on fire.
Yep, they really taken off.
They are.
But so you have some events coming up that I'd like for you to share about, and one of them is on Thursday the 11th, and I want you to just kind of take it from there and share with them, if people are interested, how they could come and learn more. Like Andrew said to Peter, come and see, you know, or was it the other way around? Is it come and see? But where they could just come and see and find out if God is directing them to come to any of these events, or to maybe become a partner church.
Sure, absolutely. What we're trying to do through this first event, which is called a Marriage Roundtable on June 11th, is we are trying to create a marriage movement in our community. We really want to just wake up the churches, wake up our community, really address the needs that are taking place. You listed a few of the issues that we face daily in marriage. You know, there's pornography problems, there's infidelity, financial issues. So we really want to create a climate in our community where it is the norm for people to reach out for help. That there's not a stigma, that there's something wrong with me even if I'm an enrichment couple and I need help. So what we're doing on June 11th is we have a gentleman coming in from Chicago. He's with Mission America. His name's Phil Millerati, and he facilitates roundtable discussions. And so what we're going to be hosting is really a roundtable peer-to-peer learning discussion where we have 3 key speakers who will speak. The 3 areas of marriage that we'll look at are the 3 areas where we serve. We'll have one speaker speak on how to create a marriage ministry in your church that addresses premarital ministry. And what resources can you use to offer to your engaged or seriously dating couples. So then after that presenter speaks, we will have a 20-minute roundtable guided discussion, peer-to-peer learning. So if you're there, you'll sit with other pastors or other lay leaders, and you'll talk about the things that were discussed in that prior presentation. And so that's another enhancement where you'll learn from those around your table. Then the second speaker will be myself, and I'm going to look at that middle group. We're going to talk a lot about enrichment marriages and the mentoring ministry. And so one of the cool things we're going to do for our format for the day is we're going to shuffle the tables. So every time there's a new speaker, you'll change to a new table, so you can meet new peers and learn from other people as well, and hopefully develop relationships. So, and then after my presentation, they'll do the 20 minutes roundtable discussion, and then I neglected to say this earlier, but after each 20-minute table discussion, then Phil Millerati will lead a large group discussion, so all the tables will be able to hear from one another, and that will be for 20 minutes as well.
Wow.
And then our last speaker, I'm really excited, we have a therapist from Keys to Living, Tim Hunter. He's also the executive director with Keys to Living. Phenomenal therapist, about one of the only male therapists that we have in our community in the Lynn County, Christian therapist. So he's going to come and speak on, he's speaking on a category of at-risk and crisis couples, but really what he's going to address is how do we minister to the unresponsive heart? So when you have maybe one spouse who is really eager to receive help, but you have another spouse who just, their heart is not responsive to what God is trying to do, how can we reach that couple? What can we do for them? So I'm really excited to see what Tim is going to share with the key leaders that day on that area. It's
June 11th, and it's open to anyone.
It is. It's June 11th. It's open to anyone. We will have a catered lunch. The cost for the entire event is $10, which really you're paying for your lunch, and then you'll receive some handouts throughout the day. Starts at 8:30. It'll end at 1:30. You do not have to come to the entire thing if you can only come to a few of the sessions. I think you're going to provide my email information at the end of the show. They can email me and find out what the specific sessions are and the times. It will be held at New Covenant Bible Church, which is on North Center Point Road in Cedar Rapids.
Yes. And I want to say for you that are viewers, if mention this to your pastor, would you? this is airing just a week before this event.
Yes.
And so there's time, but get a hold of your pastor. Say, Pastor, clear your schedule if there's any way that you can, and go to Cedar Rapids for this conference or for this seminar, and become a part of that. And I was thinking about this. Would you be willing, if you were invited, to go out to different communities such as Dubuque, or Manchester, or Waterloo, to their ministerial meetings and to introduce your ministry to those churches in those? I think that's great. I want to help you do that.
Well, thank you. You know, when we first started 4 years ago, you know, it was a pilot program, and we were in the Lynn County area, but we've said all along that if God pulls us into the other areas of this state, we will follow.
Yes.
So, absolutely.
Praise God. And then you do have some other events coming up, and that's why we're airing this when we are, is to make you especially aware of this June 11th event. That's the big one. But you can go on to Lynn's website at any time and just see what all is available and what the events are that are coming up.
And so the other event that we have coming up on June 13th, also at the New Covenant building, they have a big building, so we utilize it a lot. We have a Prepare and Enrich, so the diagnostic assessment that I mentioned. We actually have a workshop that will focus just solely on that assessment. And so pastors can come, lay members can come, go through that training. Again, there'll be more information on that at the end of the program if you want to reach out to me and get more information. And then the last event that I'd like to spotlight is we have, and this is really geared toward leadership couples. So when this retreat started, several years ago, we did it with the intention of creating a safe environment for pastors and lead mentors or lead couples to get away and just work on their own marriage. So we go to Pella every year and stay at the Relationship Enrichment Center, and it's a Thursday evening, Friday. So this year it's 25th and 26th of June. And it's fun, it's not heavy, but it's a lot of just quality time with your spouse and learning, diving into the Word, learning some practical ways that God can just grow your marriage. Because as a pastor, you know, you're serving, and sometimes it's difficult to find the time to be served.
Amen. Well, Lynn, if you would get some information to me that I can in turn forward in the email, and I think Facebook is a great way to get the word out.
Absolutely.
But I would forward that on to the 40 or so pastors, 45 pastors that I have on my email list that are in eastern Iowa, making them aware of these events, introducing them to your website as well.
That would be great.
And I would love to do that because I'm all for this and I'm with you. Dottie and I are with you. We're behind you. Anything we can do to help you promote this. So there you go. And I think what I'm going to do, Lynn, is have you back on, if you'll think about doing this in about a month or so, and bring some people with you and let you have doing a whole hour and let you just do the program and have some of these couples share what this program has done for them.
That would be fantastic, and I would also love to just maybe do a mock mentoring session, because sometimes if you see it play out, it's pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, praise God. Stay tuned for the second half of today's program. We're so glad you joined us. God bless you.
Thank you.